DIR Floortime is a therapeutic approach that is typically used for children who have autism spectrum disorders. However, this approach can also be used for other children who have developmental disabilities or who are typically developing. DIR stands for Developmental, Individual Difference, and Relationship-Based Approach. Floortime is a component of the DIR approach. The Floortime component involves child-directed interactions with an adult. This approach can be used in a therapy setting, home environment, or other environments that the child is engaged in. In a Floortime model, the clinician, parent, or adult is involved in the interaction with the child. The clinician or parent is to follow the child's lead, whatever that may be. Now, in Engaging Autism, Greenspan and Weeder explain that the Floortime approach involves taking the child's lead, whether that would be just being engaged with their motor movements, with their play interactions, with wandering aimlessly around a room even. Now, while wandering aimlessly around a room may seem like something that would not increase developmental skills, increase language use, or engage the adult with the child, it does engage the adult with the child since they are doing the same thing. It allows the child to know that the adult is not going to prevent the child from completing the activity that they desire. It allows the child to know that the adult is interested in what the child is doing, and hopefully in this interaction, the child can glance over at the adult, can engage in another way, verbal or nonverbal, with the adult, and produce that engagement that we're looking for in the Floortime model. Now, after engagement is established in a Floortime model through wandering aimlessly around a room, through pushing a car back and forth, or whatever the action may be that the adult engages with the child, the adult then, once the engagement occurs, is to challenge that child, to help them expand what they're currently doing, but still remain within the same interest that the child currently has. They're not to pull from different other things and take the child's interest away from what they were initially interested in. So if the adult and child are walking around a room, challenging the child may change from just walking around the room in engagement with the child to challenging the child by standing in the typical path of the child and having the child problem solve then a way around the adult, asking the adult to move, or just physically moving the adult over would be some examples of some problem solving that could occur there. And that helps the interaction between the adult and child to happen, but it remains within that same shared interest, or that same original interest that the child had. Now, the type of challenges that can be introduced after engagement with the adult and the child could vary based on the activity, could vary based on the developmental level of the child, and could vary based on the environment. And these could increase over time. Now, when I first heard of the Floortime model, I thought that this type of a model was just sitting on the floor with some toys and playing with the child and sharing in that engagement and challenging the child in that way. But it's so much more than that. Part of the Floortime model stresses that Floortime should be done every day, in every place, everywhere. And that can be done in a car, in a pool, a park, anywhere that the child and the adult can have an interaction, and where the child can have interest in anything. For example, you can have interaction on the floor with a set of toy cars, or a set of Barbies, or action figures, or whatever, and just engaging in what the child is doing, and then challenging the child in that interaction, that they're interested in those objects, but then challenging them further in expanding on play schemes, or expanding what they're currently doing, the language use in that environment. But if toys aren't readily available, let's say at a grocery store, Floortime can still be completed in that environment and should be to help generalize skills to all environments. Now, since toys aren't readily available there and you don't need to pull out toys in a grocery store in order to have Floortime happen, you could just take whatever the child is interested in, whether that be an apple, a banana, a cereal box, fruit snacks, whatever, and just take what they're interested in, what they're looking at, what they'd like to look for, and then challenge them within that. So for example, if the child is really set on having a specific kind of fruit snacks, a specific flavor or something, you can have the child look for that fruit snack, help you look for the fruit snack, and you two are in that sustained engagement with each other, and you're following the child's lead and looking for that item. Now, a challenge can arise when the fruit snack is placed higher or just out of the child's reach. And the challenge can arise when the fruit snack or the item is not taken off the shelf for the child, but the child has to problem solve and initiate the interaction to get to that desired item. And that could be non-verbally by pointing up someplace to get that snack down. It could be verbalizing something, or it could be solving the problem on their own. Now, as speech therapists, Floortime can be used integrally into speech therapy sessions. The Floortime model can be used to address goals in speech therapy sessions. Let's say if you have a goal to have the child express their wants and needs verbally or non-verbally through picture exchange systems, they can do that through the Floortime model. Take what they're interested in, the play objects, the environmental things, whether it be a therapy gym or a pool environment, take the structures or the items around them and just watch how they're engaging by themselves in those objects, and then follow their lead, but then challenge them to ask for things, to make their needs and wants known in that environment, within that interest that they have in that setting. If you're wanting to expand the child's language, play is also a great opportunity to do that in the Floortime approach. You can model different language structures. You can have a child expand their play schemes and the language that goes along with that. You can just address a lot of different goals within that, different language morphemes, different language structures in that, and just help the child to expand, but still within their interests. But you still have opportunities to expand and to just have fun with what they're doing and help them increase their developmental skills within that. Now, I have used Floortime with a number of children in my pediatric practicums, and one thing that I've really found that is essential to the Floortime model is just to have fun with it. The Floortime model is very difficult when you're constantly thinking about what to do next or what to challenge the child with. And when you're constantly thinking about those things, the engagement with the child is very difficult because the child can pick up on that you're not completely engaged with them or that you're not completely having fun and you're thinking about something else. That was a tip that one of my supervisors gave to me. She said just to have more fun with it and to not worry about those other surrounding things, but to just let things happen during the session and to let those challenges just come naturally and then to address them as they come. Don't keep searching for them. They happen naturally, like wanting to get something that's higher up that the child can't reach, or asking for something that just may not be in sight that they desire, or whatever the challenge may be, needing help with something in a pool therapy session can be another thing, and just to kind of roll with it, if you will, to go with the child's need, go with the child's interest, but also just look for challenges in that, but not to overlook, but just to have fun and engage with the child. So in conclusion, the Floortime approach is a way to engage children and challenge them within their own interest. We don't need to take away what they're interested in, just follow the child's lead, and then once the engagement is established within the interaction between the child and the adult, then to challenge that child in different ways, whether that be through different goals for speech therapy or just different areas that the child is working on increasing and increasing their developmental skills and challenging them in that, but remembering to also have a good balance between engagement with the child and then challenging the child. We don't want to push them overboard, but then also have fun with it. Thank you.